Okay, this trailer hitch ran me over $50. Okay, it turned out this guy right here about $40. All right, and this came with another one, and I would say the ball cost ship out another $10. So if you leave this on in your place, like some of the suburban areas, DC, downtown New York, Baltimore area, Boston, okay, LA, you know, those really heavy areas, yeah, somebody can steal it if you don't have a lock on it. So I'm going to show you how to make a little. I'm going to make a little storage area if you have an SUV with your jack and everything over on this side and this foam, and we're going to make a foam insert on this side to actually put this guy in. It's not going to interfere with this guy that actually takes your spare tire out if you have one of those. Okay, and we're not going to mess with anything over here, but we're going to look at the depth. Right now I have 27 inches at the deep end over here. Your SUV may be different. Don't know if you have a fire extinguisher in there, but we can make a groove to actually do that. We're not going to mess with the drain or the screw over there. So we're going to bring this back in, and we're going to do our measurement here at the deep end. This is a shallow end over here. So at the deep end we have 8.5 inches, maybe a little bit less, 8.25, because if you look down there, this slope goes in. Okay, it's higher up here than it is down here. So the slope goes in, the back looks like the same way. So it might be kind of tight. So we're gonna make it 8.25 there, and at the very end over here is about 7.75, and it looks like going straight down 5.5. All right, and our little protrusion here is probably 1.5 deep on that. So I'll be playing this video back to get those measurements anyway. So now on the downside here, okay, we're going to come down here and we're going to say we're about 3.5 inches up. Don't have to be that because this guy here is 3 inches up. Okay, so and it's actually protrude down pretty good. So we want to make sure that our foam up here actually will close down. And we're going to probably go just what this has, which is 2.5 inches deep. Okay, maybe closer to 3 inches deep right there. So that's what we're going to work with. All right. So what I did is I went to Walmart, paid the $7.47 plus tax for each one of these. So now these guys in the craft area of that, these guys are 2 inches deep, about. All right, so don't know if we want to make it just 4 inches. 4 inches with two of them together brings us up to there. It might impact this, so we might have to shave some off. Really don't want to do that. All right. Now this is only on the width side. Looks like 17 inches. So what we're going to do is put 2 on top, and then what we cut off, we have another one we're going to cut in half. Put on this side. We're going to use Gorilla Glue to hold it all together. And it should work just fine. But we want to cut one piece at a time, make sure it fits in there, and then you know, make sure we clear this guy, anything coming out on the sides, all right, because we don't want to affect that. Okay, but we want to make an insert that goes right over that, if that way we could pull this guy out and access to that. All right, so here we go. Now what I did is I set this up real close to the top up there, and I took a black magic marker and marked right there, and then up again according to this. Now this part coming in I just hand drew, and there I can always tweak it back a little bit, tailor it back, but then I drew the line over to this side over here where I scored a mark over there. So this will my aim is to get this settling down. You can see a lot of white powder from this because it's brand new, and you can use an air gun or low pressure air to blow it out, to clean it out. And I'll probably use a damp paper towel to get some of it up. A lot of it's going to come off because it's all new. All right, and it's just a mess coming out. I don't know how crafting people can actually tolerate that. But I'm going to go in where it's air conditioned and cut this out. Use a very sharp knife or an X-Acto knife, and that'll work out just fine. Well, it took a lot of trimming, a little tight, but it's snug. It's real snug in there. It's not bothering the thing on the bottom or that. So it's really good. It's in there snug, but look at all the trimming I had to do. That's a lot of trimming. Okay, along with cutting off the other part, which is right there. Might actually be able to use that, not sure. I was hoping to, save some to not open up the package. That's the knife I used. I used the serrated part They cut very well in the trimming and everything. So that's the kind of knife you might have to use. Now to mold that into one, and see if everything fits in there. May not do a glue. May not use any Gorilla Glue. I'm thinking just cut them out, lay them in there, and see how that does. If anything, I can put another one on top of it. But I think this is going to be just fine because I'm not going to go down halfway. These guys went all the way down. If you pull this out, look how much room is underneath that. There's not much room at all. So with that being all the way down. So I may just do the same thing with that. Take it down to pretty far down. That is a much tougher foam though than that. Don't know how that's going to work out. But we'll see. That's why we got more than one. Now the whole idea is trying to keep the cost down. So I'm going to use the leftover from that to actually make 2 additional pieces. One for here, and hopefully this big one's going to fit in there. If it's right up against, I'm not worried about it, and separate pieces, I am really not worried about that at all, because the only time we pull this thing out is to get the piece that's underneath that one, or if you have a fire extinguisher. So really I'm not worried about that. So it's up to you what you want to do, but if you want to keep the cost down at about $7, $8 for one of these things, I have 2 others I can return to Walmart and save that much money keeping the cost. Now what I did here on this piece, I cut it to fit in. I took my knife and went down here with the knife blade up at both sides of the jack and over on this side too. And what I'll do is I'll cut some out, see if it works. I'll cut some of that out, I'll figure out how far back it is. And if we lift this guy out, you can get an idea that it's a little bit more than halfway. Alright, so that's something I'm going to have to work on. I don't know if we'll be able to use this part over here, but hey, maybe one of the pins can go there, who knows. Well, it took a little effort on this one. Glad this is kind of loose so I can actually pull this guy out and grab this. This is really tight in there. And that's how much cutting I had to do to get that. That goes like this and it slides in. Hopefully I didn't crack it anymore. And then that goes in there. So it's a little loose, I'll push this back and now it's nice and tight. Alright, so now to draw out the diagram of what's going to be cut out to actually set this guy in. Well, that's the layout right there. I was hoping to actually get the tools in too. That's use this, but I don't really need to carry the tools with me. So over here you're going to just do go about halfway down of the items itself and then set them inside. The pins may, maybe a little bit lighter, okay? You don't have to actually do that. I'm thinking even just sticking them in between this thing. Basically to be something like that. Something like that. That might even be better. And they're available to just pull right out. This guy can sit here, this guy can sit here, and then and those will be there, and it's got enough room in the back to actually cut some out. Now, the thing here is there's a gap, there's a crease here. We don't want to get this whole thing out. And also you want to try and put a pencil mark or a marker around where you want to do it. Do one piece at a time. It's probably best to do it. So basically find out where this guy's going to sit, take these guys out of the way, and work on that one. When that's done, take that out of the way, put this back in, and work on this one, and so on. That's probably the best way to do it. Try not to have them touch, and I hate rust with a passion. I hate it. So I actually clean some of that up too. Alright, so that now it's time to do the etching and cutting. Well, I figured to switch the layout around because I had this big void over here I wasn't using. So this is an idea of an etching that you want to do. Now you want to go ahead and take your knife and cut around that about halfway down of the whole thing. Now here's an idea for you. Do X's inside the box, and what you can do is actually get down here and pop them out. Alright, you're not going to get a perfect bottom, but if you get the blade down, and you can just pop these guys out of the inside and dig them out, and there you go. You got your indentation, and you can actually get down there a little bit further, but you don't want to go all the way through. Well, that's the first one. It's cut in there good. Sits in there nicely. Sits in there very nicely, and the lid closes all the way. And that's what you want. The objective is the lid closes all the way, and you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom. If you can absolutely help it, you don't want to go down to the bottom. So that's my second one right there for that guy. Okay, and also if you notice how clean it is around here, having a shop vac is a big plus. So have it running while you're doing your cutting, and so that will get all that lint foam in this container. All right, and if there's a problem with when you open the container, just wet it down a bit, and it'll still. Well, there's the finished product. Okay, now I'll tell you with this one right here, when I dug down, I did come to the top of the jack, so no big deal. All right, this is the largest part, so I had to go down the furthest. When you put this down, you have to push. There's your click. Okay, so no, they're definitely not going to bounce around inside there. So it's very well secured, well organized. I like being like that. But you can see that there's a lot of the pieces from the foam down there. So now I'm doing another project with a bench where I have polyurethane. I'm thinking some kind of a glue, or maybe even polyurethane. I'm going to test it on the pieces that came off of this and see if it'll stop it from shedding so much. Make it more like this. I don't know what kind of foam that is, but definitely pre-packaged, manufactured. Okay, so I'm going to try doing the same with this and see what happens. All right, I just sprayed some of this Elmer's adhesive on all three of these, both sides. And at the same respect, I use the shop vac, hopefully for one last time, to clean the inside of this thing. So as you see, it's relatively clean. So I'm going to put everything, all these pieces back in, and the objective is to see if they shed again. And it doesn't feel much different at all. Let's put the first one in. All right, I'm going to set that in, push it down, take it back out, let's see what's left behind. There is a little bit up there, but there's not much down there, so it didn't really work. Maybe another coat might actually work. It is kind of sticky, but that might just be some of the final breaking off points. But give that stuff a try. The Elmer's seems to be the right thing. It is still sticky. I might have to leave it out some more, but it looks like it's going to work. Hey everybody, just finishing spray painting a project. Yeah, I went to an event last night and I showed somebody this and they said, wow, it looks cool. I painted them. I painted them with a black paint, a flat black from Lowe's that was like $1 and some change. The cheapest paint they had. When you paint this, you have to go in all four directions. Okay, put a coat on each four directions on all sides, and they no longer shed. They no longer make a mess, and if they do, they're black, and it matches the interior. But does it look sweet? Almost like this over here. All right, that is really cool. Hit the subscribe up on top. I know I probably already told you that on the previous part, but this is an addition. Thought I would share it with you. Okay, subscribe, see a whole lot more helpful videos. Take care, bye.